this is part 3 of logistics equipment. You'll probably find it necessary to run a generator while you're out there. Nothing else, you might be helping your neighbor. But I found a 4,000 watt generator is plenty enough to run the fan, the air gun, or anything else I want to use out there. So we do bring a generator. Make sure you bring and clearly label the fuel as generator fuel, because if not, somebody's going to be pouring race gas into your generator at about $12 a gallon. That gets expensive. The second thing is you're going to need some sort of bike stand out there. If you're going to be changing, for sure, you're going to be changing sprockets, rear sprockets, front sprockets. You need something to hold the bike. So have a bike stand. You're going to need chairs for everybody. Make sure everybody has a chair, because if you don't, the one man out's going to be pretty sad Charlie. You'll be sitting on your cooler all the time. Other thing is, you want to bring an oscillating fan, and with the fan you want to bring a circuit breaker, so you can put in a few more other things if you want to through there, and make sure you bring an extension cord. Somewhere about 50-75 feet is fine, because you'll want to get away from the generator noise. Okay? Next, make sure you bring an umbrella, because when you're sitting out there in the hot sun, you're going to need an umbrella to be over you. Okay? Usually one of your crew members will hold the umbrella when you're sitting on the bike. This represents tarps. You're going to need 2 tarps. You're going to need a tarp to go underneath your canopy, and you're going to need a tarp to work on. So right now all my tarps are tied up, so you need 2 tarps. Probably about 8 by 10 should be large enough, because the canopy, you need at least an 8 by 10 if you got 3 or 4 people on the crew to get out of the sun when you're just parked and you're working. You will be having the canopy, but the thing you have to remember on a canopy is, if you're not going to be there, take down the sides and the top, because they have a tendency to blow away. So you can leave the skeleton of the canopy, the metal part, up, but make sure you take down the sides and the back, especially when you're leaving at night or you're going to be away from the pit for a while. The other thing is, you're going to bring some orange cones. The orange cones, you'll set those out by your pit site, and you want to make sure you do enough room in your pit site so you can drive through with your trailer and drop your bike. So just don't do the pit site just for your canopy. You need to be so you can drive through and drop the bike. So you're going to need to be a little bit wider. If you mark it, people will respect the cones. If you don't mark it, you're going to have somebody parked up next to you, and it's going to make it hard for you to get the bike in and out. This piece I don't hardly ever use. I have used it 5 or 6 times I have used it. It's small enough to go under the center of the bike and lift the bike up in case you have to make any kind of adjustments on the front wheel. Take the front wheel off. It makes it a lot easier. Or move the forks up and down in the triple trees. That's a good piece to have. I always bring chargers vehicle chargers for everything you're going to be using. If you're going to be using a GoPro or whatever you're going to be using, make sure you charge that. We'll also be bringing some portable radios. They look like CB radios, but they're not. Portable radios we'll keep in each one of the vehicles. I always bring bungees. We use bungees a lot out there, just to tie things down loose, left and right. So it's always good to have some bungees out there. I use those particularly for the tarp that I'm not showing you here, but it goes on top of the trailer. I don't put it on till we get out there, because it flops around too much trying to drive it at highway speeds. But out there on assault at 40 or 50 miles an hour, it keeps the bike cool, and it keeps the guys working on the bike in the back cool. I'll bring about four locks. quite frequently, almost always, the bike will, and all this other equipment will be left out in the salt. I do lock the trailer up, the tailgate up, but I do not, I'm not worried about too much about theft. Take the key out of the bike. Everybody leaves everything out on the salt. So theft is not a problem. Okay, one of the other pieces that you're going to need is you're going to need something to kind of clean the salt off on the bike when you're out there. We use this little bug sprayer. We just put water in it, and what you do is you just pump it up the pressure and you knock the salt off the oil cooler or the radiator or the engine or the tires or the fenders underneath, because it kind of cakes up everywhere. So you take it, make sure you take it off after every run. Take as much as you can off, so it keeps the bike running cooler and keeps everything just fine. So, and you can use the water out of the cooler to fill it up also. We'll bring 2 coolers. Usually have a big cooler we'll keep with in the second vehicle with sandwich meat and sodas and water and such. And we also keep a cooler here in the vehicle that pulls the bike out. So the riders and the guys going after the riders always have a cold drink in there. It's better. We tried keeping the stuff in the pit, but we were running back and forth because sometimes you don't get back to the pit but every 3 or 4 hours. So better to keep a cooler with lunch meat, your bread, and everything you need to eat lunch, because you're going to be eating lunch out on the salt. And we'll cover that in the next section on food. Also, I keep a portable battery pack that you can get from AutoZone or any place, just in case you stall out, something happens on the line, your battery takes it that time to take a dump, because if you wait 3 or 4 hours in line, you don't want to miss your turn because your battery is dead and you won't start the bike. Also bring the Android tablet here, and the Android tablet lets me go ahead and download a different tune into the ECU if I need to while I'm out in the salt. So these are just the things that it's not, like I said before, it's not all of the things we end up taking, but these are some of the things. And we do end up sharing and letting people run off the generator, because usually 5 gallons extra fuel is enough out there for a week, because people they're coming over from Japan and they don't have a generator. So if they need to get a little juice and a little power to run something, then we'll let them borrow it. All right, thank you very much. That's the end of part 3, which was equipment for the logistics. Part 4 for logistics is going to be the kind of the food and things you need to take out there. Thank you very much.